Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Voices of Healing podcast. I'm your host, Tina Clark. Today's guest is another fellow New Yorker, Michael Duffman. He's
Dorfman, right?
a Dorfman. He is a health and nutrition life coach and an expert in longevity, which I think he has earned. So, welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you very much, Tina. Great to be here. Was looking forward to this.
Awesome. So, how long have you been a health and nutrition life coach?
Well, that was fairly recent. It was the beginning of this year. Uh, yeah, I took a course in that and passed the course, and been working with small groups, a few people, uh, and writing my book, my latest book, and doing podcasts, and just enjoying my life.
Sounds good. So it sounds like, you should be retired, but you're not.
Yeah, well, retiring it has its bad downside because people look forward to retiring because they've been working their whole life, and then they decide that, well, I'm not going to do anything anymore. I'm just going to sit back and relax, and that's the problem. Once you stop moving and you start using the creative powers of our brain. Uh, that's why a lot of people go downhill after they retire.
Yeah, I just heard something interesting today, and I know you meditate, and so do I. I'm a big proponent of meditation. But do you know who Freddie Silva is?
No.
He's
Uh,
written a lot of books. He's like on ancient aliens. But I was listening to an episode today where he said that when you meditate, it helps the two sides of your brain communicate better. And they've shown this, in scientific studies that the two sides of the brain are connected better in meditation, which I thought was really cool.
well, that's why meditation is really useful uh, to avoid bad stress, long term stress. So that's why I do that. I've been practicing meditation. That's more than close to 50 years now. And it's
Wow.
such an important it's very important because beside what you had mentioned, it also uh if we go into a real good state of meditation and connect with ourselves, it allows us to not get so involved in all the things that are going on around us, the craziness, which we know is crazy.
Yeah. So, like, growing up in the city is very intense. Um, so, that, but it makes you tough too. But yeah, meditation, really important. So let's talk about longevity. So you have a longevity wellness revolution is what you call it. So tell us, what does that entail?
Well, it's really interesting because I was growing up. I was healthy, and I've been healthy the last few years. I started. Well, I got into vegetarianism in the 1976. Then 17 years ago, I changed to a whole food, plant powered diet. And so I'm enjoying my life, feeling healthy, and then getting the years were passing, and I was starting to realize that here we are. I'm now 80 years old. It's for a lot of people. That's we have this concepts and perception of what it's like to get old, and it's not very positive for most people. They it's time to life is declining now, and we could enjoy our lives, so to speak, and live our last lives, not getting too sick. But now we know that Most people are, by the time they're in their mid 70s, late 70s, they already have a chronic disease. And that's what people accept. It's the normal part of aging, is because nobody is telling us another story. So when I got into my 80s, and now I'm 83, we 84 in January, I started thinking about that and realizing that, you know, we have a tremendous opportunity, because if we retire and we don't sit down and watch TV or just relax and live a comfortable life, and we continue being active, uh, there's a lot to enjoy in our 80s. Because, you know, here I am at 83, and I know that no matter how you put it or how you take it, I don't have that many years left, because that's the way it is. I mean, I don't think I'm going to live to 125 or anything like that, but you don't have that many years. So all of a sudden it came to me is like, well, what do I want to do now? What do I want to, how am I going to enjoy my life? And I felt that it was so important. And I still feel that you really have to focus on the moment, because there aren't that there isn't that much time left, you know, even if it's 10, 15 years, the time when I don't know if you're experiencing it, you're young, but as you get older, time just flies by, and every day, every week seems like a day. And it's really true. So it's like, well, I'm not going to worry about, you know, what's going to happen next year or the following. I'm going to try to focus on the moment and live and enjoy the moment. And that's what living life after 80 is all about. If you want to truly enjoy a whole, you know, I've lived 83 years. I have uh, so many years of experience, and so many years I've been doing research in what I'm writing about, and we take it for granted. But it's, if we really enjoy our lives and avoid getting a chronic disease or getting, you know, very sick, which is very important, then we could truly have joy, have purpose in our life. And uh, and I call this I decided to call this the fifth stage of life. We have 5 stages of life, which I write about in my new book, and it's the fifth stage of life where we put everything together, and we can enjoy the fifth stage from 80 to 100 and beyond, as much as we enjoyed, you know, living to our 20s, to our 40s, to our 60s. And that's what we have to find. And that is truly the way to have longevity wellness. It's complete when it's the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual coming together.
So the 5 stages of life, the last one is 80 to 100. So what's the first four?
Well, the first 4 is I divided it up into 20 years. And the first stage is to make it just simple. We are developing, we are learning, our hormones are kicking in. It's just the growing part of our life till we're supposedly 19. From 20 to 39, we're already we're out of university. We have a job. We have a family, a growing family, young children. That's till 39, and then we from 40 to 59. We're supposed to be successful, and we, you know, enjoying our life, and we have a business, and our kids leave home, and we're, you know, so we're enjoying life. And then we get beyond 60, and it's like we're thinking of retiring, and that's where, you know, we have to change that mindset, because even if we retire, we have to find ways to keep going. So if we retire and we just sit back, we end up watching TV or just, you know, not really having an active life anymore. Everything starts slowing down, and it's not very healthy. So we go through that till we're from 60 to 79. And then we're in the fifth stage of life, which is 80 to 100 plus, which I'm saying it can be great. It really can.
Yeah. So what are some of, for people who, for example, retire or about to retire, what are some of the most important things they can do to live longer? Because I know you mentioned some people retire and they just sit there and watch TV and not really do much. So what's important for them to focus on?
Well, I want to mention that what I discovered and has been an important part of the way I live is what I've learned from the blue zones. I'm not sure, you probably heard it, you know about the blue zone.
Mhm.
Well, Dan Buettner, this was it was around 2009, I think. He was working with National Geographic, and they decided they were going to send him to search and find, well, where do the healthiest and longest living people on the planet live? And he was an explorer, actually. Dan Wettner. He had he was a biker, a world biker. He has 3 Guinness records. So they sent him to find out these places, and also to see what type of lifestyles they have in common. Even though I'll mention the places in a moment. Even though these zones, they're called blue zones, they're separated by either oceans or large land masses. They have quite a few similarities. So the places are, I have it here, there's Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, Icaria in Greece, Loma Linda actually in California in the US, and Nicoya in Costa Rica. So he went through this. It was a 2-year study, and he found certain things they had in common. And to me, one of the most important things, they call it now a plant slant diet. In other words, eating plants, more plants, because the standard American diet is mostly meat, animal products, some vegetables and fruits, but the basis is meat, dairy, and eggs, and whatever else fills out the diet. And this has been going on for ever since I was a kid with the basic 7. That's what they called the diet at that time. And so, but the blue zones have been following these diets for some up to centuries, and they haven't changed very much. So one of it was plant powder, even though in certain blue zones they do eat, some fish, some meat, they include it in their diet. It's not a main focus. It's they eat it once in a while, but actually the plants are where the sustenance comes from, the real nutrition comes from. So that's one of the things they had in common. Another thing was they didn't call it exercise. It was actually movement, natural movement, which is something that we don't do very much here in the West now with, the internet and the cell phones, and we sit a lot of the time. So their natural movement is that it was important that they don't really retire in the sense that we retire. Their life continues. It's in rural areas. These are the blue zones. So they move. They're moving as part of their lifestyle. They either walk a lot they go bicycling, but they don't give up that part of their life, which is extremely important. So they have the diet, and they do stress reduction through meditation, through Tai Chi, through yoga, different exercises that they do. They may take care of their plants, their garden in the backyard. So that's what they do as a natural movement and meditation. And then they have, which is extremely important, and they're discovering it's more and more important, and that is caring communities. Human beings are social animals. We do much better in groups, whether it's, religious group or having the same belief system or things to do. It's interesting here because I play a lot of pickleball now. So I play usually 4 or 5 times a week. And we have an incredible, here in San Miguel in Mexico, we have an incredible group here of expats. So I'm the oldest one here playing pickleball, but they're in the 60s, 70s. So we have, and it's really wonderful because it's not even enjoying, if whoever is plays pickleball, the physical part of it, but it's an emotional part of it, and it's enlightening and it's exciting, and you get to meet people, and we have a great community here. So that's part of it, is having this community where we share things, and that's become more important for me, and I think for people who want to live a long life, to have people they like to get together with, whether it's family, it's friends, or the larger community. So that's another thing that's very important. And another important part is having purpose. And I feel very fortunate because I'm a writer and I like to speak, and just to be able to get in touch with that creativity that I have inside. It's interesting because when I was young, I was in my 20s. I used to write a lot, and I was traveling, and I was writing about. I was taking part in the protest movement in Vietnam and everything, so I was writing about that. And then everything stopped, and then I couldn't write anymore. And I was like, why can't I write? What happened to this author inside of me that I can't write anymore? I used to write poetry also, and it just didn't happen for decades and decades, until finally I realized what the problem was. I had nothing to write about until I came to this point, and now all of a sudden I'm on my third book now in the last 6 years, and I think I want to maybe share this with your audience, that we have so much creativity inside of us. Maybe it's not the same as writing, playing a musical instrument, or caring for people. Just this thing, we all have gifts inside of us, and then maybe that is what I'm trying to say, that you get older and it's like you have purpose in your life. What do you want to do now that you are not working anymore? Are you going to, because it's there, our brain is still functioning. We can be challenging the brain. And this helps when you have purpose in your life and you do something you love in your life. It gives you a greater opportunity to avoid, what happens to our minds. We get senility when we get older, or Alzheimer's. So this is a great way to stimulate the mind and, face challenges. So that's what I do. Beside writing, with my wife actually last month celebrated her 80th birthday, and we both play pickleball. And she writes, she cooks. You love to cook? Well, cook. It's like, but find a reason to get up in the morning and not say, oh, it's another morning. What am I going to do today? No, find a reason. So this is all part of this thing of longevity. And it's change. It's a mindset change, because I feel it's sort of almost becoming changing your identity, and just actually believing in yourself and saying, hey, I'm in this fifth stage of life and I'm going to enjoy it just as I enjoyed the other stages.
Yeah, I think having purpose is really important. We always need to have a purpose, no matter what phase
Absolutely.
of life. And just because you're retired or beyond doesn't mean that you don't need a purpose. You do. Even if your purpose is to have a lot of plants and take care of them, or whatever makes you happy. But think about, like, when you're working, you don't have time for a lot of things. Even people complain they don't have time for exercise, right? Because they're working all the time. But now you're retired, guess what? You have time to exercise. You have time to pursue your hobbies. You have all this time now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the problems is that, we don't see that, or we don't understand really that when we really have purpose and we become active in later life, it's helping us to prevent getting sick and getting disease. It's really probably the most important part of health in later life is keeping going and avoiding stress and avoiding just sitting around and not doing that much. And the problem is also that we depend so much on the medical profession and pills, taking a pill to, I get sick, I'll take a pill for this, I'll take a pill for that. And I won't understand that our body has this incredible self-healing power that it's been with us all our lives. Our body takes care of us. Our body wants to live, and we can't just let it, sit aside, because if the body is not helping us, if we're not allowing the body to heal ourselves, to keep us healthy, it's just not going to be able to. It's not going to do its job, and we're going to be depend. One of the things I write about is our dependency on pharmaceuticals, and it gets worse and worse. So we get sick, and what do? We go to a doctor, and we say, "Okay, doctor," and he says, "Okay, take this pill." And then you take the pill and you feel a little better, but you get some side effects. And then you take another pill for the side effect, and that's what happens. And we don't, we just live our life like that, instead of saying, "You know what? I'm going to start doing some research. I'm going to start seeing, where can I find information on how incredible our body is, that we can take care of our body and keep it strong." Because if we don't, it's not going to, it's just not going to help us anymore. It's like, we go to the gym and, to strengthen our muscles. And that's if we don't do that, then our muscles are going to get, they're going to lose its firmness, or, whatever you call it. Same thing with bones. But we got to do this if we really want to live a later life full of joy and health and purpose.
Yeah, it's really going to require a shift in beliefs and thinking, because speak for the, maybe you should speak for the older generation, but like, if everybody looks at their doctor and the doctor tells them, take this, they never question it. And then by the time you're a senior citizen, you're on like 10 different medications. And then, by the way, they don't study the effects of all of these medications together that you're taking. That's not being studied at all, or that information's not being released. So we don't even really know what it's doing to your body. Well, we know it's overwhelming your liver. That's common sense. But I mean, I just feel like everybody just is waiting to be told what to do. And we've been told to do a certain thing, and now we're realizing it's not good for us.
Exactly right, Tina. And that's the problem. And we just have it too easy. We become too comfortable, and we're waiting to be told what to do. And that's what the change has to happen. We have to take health in our own hands. We have to realize, if it ends up, we go to a doctor, and the doctor tells us, okay, the other problem is also because to find a good doctor is not easy. And a good doctor is a doctor that has a more holistic approach, really is interested in you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, one of the things that Hippocrates said, the father of modern medicine, it's more important to know the person who has a disease than the disease that a person has. And that's not the way doctors, work. They have very little time. I think they figured out the average doctor sees a patient for 8 minutes. You can't really do a holistic approach and you have to learn about the person, this person, because it's the same thing happening to me. If I ever go to a doctor, not interested in me, not interested in what I eat, what kind of a lifestyle I have. It's just like focusing on disease. If it's a specialist, heart specialist, liver specialist, lung specialist, they don't even care about the other organs or how they're related to each other. They don't see our body as a whole body, as we have we're this being that's alive inside this body. It's called reductionism,
Mhm.
that where everything is reduced to its parts, so, and that's what they do with in the pharmaceutical, the drugs they give us is because originally they were based on actual plants that had the way to heal a disease. But what they do, they replicated these what that disease they got from the plant, and then it's chemically produced. But they only give you that drug, and that's why there's side effects, and then you get the side effects with it. So it's the holistic approach. The doctors don't do that, and so if a doctor says, "Well, take this drug," well, first of all, I will ask, "Well, are there any side effects?" And they may not even know it. So then when you go home, you look up the side effects, and you see like there's about 5 or 10 different side effects. I wanted to, I took I had a tooth pulled. I hate to take antibiotics. So the dentist pulled my tooth and he said, urgent, because that's what dentists do. You have to take the antibiotic so you don't get infected. Well, I trusted my body, but I took the antibiotic. And this was about 4 years ago. So I took the antibiotic, and I didn't research it, unfortunately. And all of a sudden, the next day, I couldn't straighten my legs because the tendons was tight. And I said, "What is that?" And I didn't first. Didn't connect it to the drug I took, and then I decided. I went in. I checked out the drug, and it was it was one of the side effects of the drug, that it could actually rupture the tendons in your bodies. And this drug is now outlawed, I think, in the United States, because they found out fairly recently that it can also rupture the artery, your aorta artery. And it's like, what is that? So, but doctors won't tell you that. They don't tell you. So are there any side effects? Are there any other options? What happens if I don't take the drug? So these are questions. So, and the other thing I tell people is that if you have a problem, you go in to see the doctor, do some research on your problem. See what do you have. Okay, what is even if it's Wikipedia or Google or AI, whatever, check it out. Find out what. And so when you go to the doctor, you're not just like, I'll do whatever he tells me, and see what he knows about it. So that's one of the things you can do but you really have to take your power, in the power of healing yourself into your own hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good advice, but know that if you do ask a lot of questions, your doctor may not like it.
So go see another doctor.
I remembered seeing a doctor, and he wanted me to go on antibiotics for something, and I didn't want to. And I got a lecture about how I should, because, I had some kind of bad cold. He said it might turn into pneumonia. Yeah. I think I took it, but maybe a couple of days. I mean, I was like really not wanting to do that. And antibiotics, we know, just wipes out everything in your gut biome, and your gut biome is the whole foundation for your immune system.
Exactly.
Which is why we're talking about antibiotics is not, I mean, it's good for severe cases, where you really need it, but I think it's prescribed too much.
Yeah, because drugs are advertised on TV, so we trust it. Well, if it's advertised on TV, and that's the United States is one of 2 countries that allows for pharmaceutical drugs to be advertised on TV. The other one is New Zealand. I don't know if that's changed at all, but in Mexico, the pharmaceuticals, you're not allowed to do that. But when you see that, and then you haven't do it, they talk very fast about, well, you can get a heart attack, you can die from it.
Yes. Listen, yeah, it's horrifying. Like, listen to the commercials because they're telling you, they have to tell you the side effects, and it's horrendous. Horrendous. Like, I think there was some kind of medication for some kind of mental illness, and it was saying that one of the side effects was increased suicidal tendencies. I was like, oh my gosh, like, no, no.
Yeah, and you'll notice that everybody, all the people in the advertisement are all smiling all the time.
Yeah.
They didn't get their side effect yet.
Well, they should ban those again. I'd be happy to never see one of those again, ever.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that I think was promised, but that hasn't happened yet. Yeah, they shouldn't. People just believe that if it's on TV, it must be okay, and that's why so you watch that the advertisement on the drugs, and the next advertisement it is on some you know ultra processed food, and that's going to
Mhm.
make you sick. You're going to have to take to the pharmaceutical. It's a deal. They got a good deal going.
They they do, but we should not make it easy for them,
Right.
in my opinion. But this podcast is about voices of healing and holistic solutions for health. So, Michael, why do you think you made it to 83? Because obviously, with I don't know what the average life expectancy now is, 77.
Yeah, somewhere about that. And it's even
Yeah.
going backwards. I think it's lost 2 years. I think the life expectancy of our children now are 2 years less. The first time ever, it's less than what their parents lived.
Wow.
And that's what, yeah, around 77. So people listen to that. Oh, 77. So, I'm okay. I'm 77. So this is about the time that things start happening. And it's just a belief system, and we shouldn't believe that. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with reality, because in the blue zones, the people who live there, they lived 10 to 15 years longer than people in the West live. And not only there, they also in the what do you call parts of rural parts of Japan, China, and Africa, the same thing, because they're just having it's healthy lifestyle. It's healthy eating, mostly plant based. If you're not eating plant based, eat more plant based. Even it's a little bit. And even, I'm sure that there are people like some of the things they eat that are plant based, whether it's guacamole salad, hummus, oatmeal in the morning, soups. There's so many things that we can like. And I was thinking about it yesterday. Eating plants is like incredible. There's so many different colors. It's plants are beautiful, and they are the favorite food of our gut. The favorite food of our gut is fiber, and that's what the good bacteria thrive on. So, and fiber is only found in plants, and we eat the fiber, and the fiber is eaten by the plants, and then it gives us back health, because it's really interesting. The gut, the microbiome has, I think, something like 36 trillion different microbes. In Each person has that. It's inside us. We have the gut microbiome, where most of it, I think 70% of the microbiome is. But our brain has a microbiome. Even on our skin, we have a microbiome. And yet we want to destroy all these microbes. So we have antiseptics, we gargle, or we mouthwashes. We don't know. We got to kill these microbes. So we're doing the exact opposite of what we should be doing. We should be living healthy so we can live with the microbes, because the microbes, what is the job? What does the microbes want? A microbe want every living thing in the universe wants to live, whatever that is, whether it's a micro, whether it's an insect, whether it's a mammal, whether it's a human being. We want to live, and microbes want to live. So if a microbe is living on our bodies, they want to live. So they want us to be healthy, because if we go, they go. So I see it that way. And so it's like, if I treat the microbes and give them what they want to eat, if they want to eat fiber, I'll give them fiber, because I know they're going to take care of me, help my immune system, help me avoid what do you call it, inflammation and chronic diseases. That's what I'm going to do. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll help you. You help me. It's a done deal. So that's the way I see it.
What do you think of high protein diets or like the carnivore diet?
Well, that's the keto diet is it's probably the most popular diet there is, and uh, and yet the keto diet is just, well, the paleo diet. It's the all these diets that have come down. Whether it's Atkins diet, they're all based on the same thing. It's the high fat, low carb, and that's what the diets are, but they don't have any long-term success. Maybe they can help things like losing weight, something that they can help with. But we're talking about we get this the plant-based diet all the way back from our ancestors, way back with the great apes. It was plant-based. But what happens also is people get stuck on the hunter-gatherers, which they ate meat because that's the situation was. That was our ancestors at that time. But it's really interesting because the latest studies are showing that they had a lot of fiber in their diet because they were studying the feces or the poop of the hunter gatherers, and they were finding out that they ate a lot of fiber. They were getting more, sometimes even more than 100 grams a day, which we were not. We're lucky. Most 95% of the people on the standard American diet or on animal product food diets, we're getting maybe 5-10% of the amount of diet. No, maybe 50% of what we should be getting, and 95% of people on the standard American diet don't get enough fiber in their diet. So it's the way it is. I do one of the things I do is I do intermittent fasting. I do it about 4 or 5 times a week. And what happens in intermittent fasting is that the best fuel for our body throughout all of history is our carbohydrates. That's what humans thrive on. That's why I call ourselves humans carbivores. We thrive on carbohydrates ever since it enters our mouth, and we have the enzyme that starts digesting the carbs and turning them into the sugars that can be used by our cells. It starts there. There's so many things that that say that we should be get more plant-based foods, more fiber, because that's what we thrive on. If we go, what I was mentioning about the intermittent fasting is that when you do intermittent fasting, it gets a point when it turns over from, it goes through, what do you call it? Ketosis, when we go from carbohydrates into burning fat, which is the keto diet, burns fat. That's okay, because but it's not the number one choice for our body. Our body wants carbohydrates, and if it doesn't have carbohydrate, it'll burn fat. So when I go through the intermittent fasting, it'll shift over for a little while to the burning fat. But then when I finish the fasting, I'll go back to carbohydrates. So it's good to stress on the body, because it's important for the body to go through good stress in order to keep up. It's like when we go to the gym and we lift the bar, dumbbells or barbells, it strengthens our muscles. But it isn't that our, we do the barbell and we lift the weights and all of a sudden the muscle grows. No, the first thing that happens, it tears down the tissues in the muscle, and then it rejuvenates. So the body goes through some stress there, which is healthy, because we end up getting, more muscular. And that's the same thing that happens with everything we do. When we stress our body through different lifestyle choices, different good stress activities, we put our body through a little bit of stress. So it says it's good for it. And this helps us when we put our body through some good stress. It helps us deal with long-term stress, bad stress, which is not healthy for our bodies. But if we go, a lot of people go through bad stress on a daily basis, and it ends up, and unfortunately we become used to it, going through stress. And cortisol, which is the stress hormone, it does bad things to our body, because we don't want to be stressed all the time. but we get used to it because of our job, because of problems maybe with relationships, what's happening in the world, difficult situations. People are, it's a difficult time, but we can go through it if we really take care of ourselves and in different ways.
Yeah, and even if you get accustomed to all that stress, there's still a consequence to that. And there's a huge consequences to your health for that. Really, like I've interviewed several experts on the show about autoimmune, and I really feel like it's stress, that unchecked stress that creates that, and especially for women, because more women get autoimmune disease. But back to what you were saying about eating like your ancestors, our ancestors, they didn't eat meat every day unless they were, like the indigenous of Alaska do, or the Eskimos, because they didn't have plants to eat. So that's what they ate. But for the most part, if you had meat, that was once in a while when your tribe got lucky and one of your hunters, killed something that you could eat. But on a daily basis, it was probably plants they were eating.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought that up because we look at the hunter gatherers and we think the most important thing that we got from them was that they ate meat. If they ate meat, then we can eat meat. But it's not true. It's they had plants, and there are actually, I think, over 30,000 edible plants in nature, and we only cultivate now about 150 of them. So it was out there, and that's what they did. They had a search there, whether there were plants, or I don't know what they call grubbers, different types of things.
Mhm.
And they were saying that maybe that's what they were getting a lot of, because like you said, you don't want to be fighting animals all the time, and so a lot of them were stronger than you. So and it was really interesting because and this is another thing I write about. One of the things we really should learn from the hunter gatherers is that they faced a lot more stress than we did. They faced stress running away from animals, or going through, they didn't have air conditioning or heating. They had to move. They were nomads. They had to move away. There was, climate changes. There were so many things that they had to go through, and it was very stressful. But this is one of the things that we inherited from them. This is in our DNA. We have that ability to be resilient. We have an ability to adapt. We're all over the world. Humans are all over the world, so we can adapt. We can be strong. But if we don't use that resilience, if we don't challenge our bodies, if we don't challenge our minds, we're not gonna make use of that ability, and it's gonna end up. We're not using it. As they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. So
Exactly.
we inherited that from our ancestors, that ability to withstand so much, and that's what human beings can do. But we have to use it. We have to, employ it in our lifestyle, in order to be able to thrive. That's what thriving is all about. It's not sitting around, it's thriving.
True. Stop sitting around for God's sake.
Get off of the couch.
Oh my God, I live in a community where we have a beautiful trail system, and I walk all the time, and I barely see anybody walking. It's like crazy to me, because we have this beautiful trail, and
Uh-huh.
we just got to get off our butts. I
That's
mean, I
true.
don't know how else to say it, right? Let's stay at the New York way. Get up, get off your butt, do something, move something.
Exactly.
So, Michael, what you said you have 3 books. So, what are the titles of the books, and what are they about?
Well, the first one is the Thriving Vegan. I mean, they're all available on Amazon. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
this in 2019. And this was when I was basically focusing just on plant-based nutrition. I got into different topics about gluten and oils, because I was following, and I still do, a certain, I'm pretty uh, strong in my following of plant-based nutrition. So the Thriving Vegan, it's Thriving Vegan, how to discover the foods your body loves. And then I would change. I in my last year I published this book, Information Warfare: The Battle for Truth and Freedom. Why and how governments, corporations, industries, and the media manipulate information to control what you see, hear, and do. So I got into that,
Yes,
because
sir.
yeah. So and I just opened up, I just did so much research. That's what it's like. I really got into research, which I do now as well. And to see, like, what's happening in this, in the world, as far as what we're going through, So I published that last year. And now I'm into the longevity wellness revolution. I decide I'm coming back to health. And then I'm going to use some of that of my research to find out what's really going with regards to health. And now I'm just focusing on enjoying my life, doing some research, not too much, but enough. And I'm sort of on a journey, which I'm inviting people to join me, because I'm discovering new things. And my son Adam, he's going to be 50 next year. He's into somatic therapy, and I want to learn a little bit about that, because a lot of people have trauma now, and it may not. And it's interesting because I'm thinking, well, now as a coach, maybe people, they're not doing well with plant-based, and it's not because of that they don't like plant-based. It's because that they have trauma, they have problems with their body, and they're not digesting well, or so because their body is in flight or fight and flight mood, mood, and they're not able. So I'm learning, and I'm trying to incorporate different things into my life. I do hot and cold therapy just to keep my my good stress going, and my you know I just enjoy it. So that's what I mean. Is like almost getting a new identity of saying, what? I want to thrive during my 80s, but it's not just changing one thing. Like, I want to, gain weight. I want to lose weight, because it's not only that, it's really that I want to be well. I want to experience wellness. That's why I called it, the longevity wellness revolution, thinking about longevity in a new way.
Yeah, and I think a major reason why you're doing so well is because you're learning. You're still learning. Like, you
Absolutely.
have this curiosity, and you're just because you're 83 doesn't mean you just stop learning about anything, or you don't investigate what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. So again, it's Michael Dorfman. And what's your website, Michael, in case people want to contact you or find out more about you?
It's longevitywellnessrevolution.com. And I don't know, I'll send you to your notes, because I'm on Substack. And I don't know if I sent that to you. I may have.
Yep, I've got
Yeah,
all
okay.
your info. So all of that will be in the show notes. But the reason why I always ask for you to mention your website is because people may be listening and want to say, hey, I want to look this guy up right away.
Okay.
And I've done that. Like, I listen to stuff, and right away I want to go to that person's website. And so, they mention it, and then boom, I'm on their website.
It's longevity wellness revolution.com. And
Well,
as far as I also I put out weekly articles on health, and I'm getting close to getting publishing my book. So I hope to do that by the end of this year. So if anybody wants to subscribe, they'll be on my list, and they'll be getting the articles every week.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for being on the show.
Thank you, Tina. It was great. I really enjoyed being here.